Hey there, Next Gen Millionaires. It's Joe Burns coming at you this week for just a little bit of tips and tricks around how to deal with your money emotional life. So this week, I want to talk a little bit about stop your money meltdown. I've gotten a lot of questions about it, and for those who don't know, like what it is or what's it about or what's happening with it, you can go to. I dropped the link in the comments or in the description, I should say, about where to go download it. And it's really just a guide of how you can stop a money meltdown. Now, the big question this week that I've gotten since I launched it is one of two camps. Last week, I kind of talked about the like what happens. People saying they're not having meltdowns, and I talked a bit about that. And it might sound repetitious today, but that's a good thing. The other thing I'm getting is people are like, "Well, I'm not having those meltdowns, or I'm not having one around money, and so this tool is not helpful." And I look at him, I'm like, "Oh, maybe, maybe not." My guess is it is, right? For those who know me, it's gonna be relevant in a lot of different ways. Now you can change up the tool a little bit, but we're gonna keep with this format, follow the format in the guide. But here's what I wanna talk about. I wanna talk about, like, what a meltdown is, especially around money. Because here's the one thing I do know. Okay, it's a little off topic, but it does play into this conversation today, is that we as humans have our definition of what words mean to us. Okay. Just let that sit in for a second. Like we have the dictionary and everybody, or yeah, you go to the dictionary and figure out what a specific word means. If you don't know what it means, it can give you some idea. But there's still an interpretation and a perspective that gets placed on that word as we use it. Okay. So I just want you to sit with that for a moment. So the first question I always got to ask is what is like describe to me what a meltdown is. All right. So think about that for a moment. What is a meltdown to you? Is it the toddler throwing a temper tantrum, right? On the floor, kicking and screaming, kind of having a complete meltdown? Is it literally watching something melt down, right? If you look at like blocks of s- like metals or plastics or stuff, you can actually see that process happening. What is it to you? What does that meltdown look like? Because here's my counter to it. A meltdown is really anything that's not going the way you want it to go. So a situation comes to you and it doesn't go the way you want it to go, internally from an emotional perspective, we're going to have a small meltdown, right? We set an expectation for how we wanted that to go. And that expectation gets melted down when it doesn't turn out like we want it to. Now, you all know my ideas about expectations. If you don't, there's an video on expectations like way back, right? I don't believe we should have expectations. Now, we set those up all the time. And that's where the meltdowns are coming. We think things should be a certain way. And when they don't turn out that way, we have this little come apart, right? So to me, that's what a meltdown is. Now, if you look back over the last 24 hours of your life, you can probably count a couple times where that happened. See, and this is the problem. People don't realize they're having meltdowns until you get the big volcanic explosion where you can't handle it anymore and it just all erupts. So, this tool is specifically designed to help you manage the meltdowns every day. And that's why I encourage to do the tool every day. Okay. Because if we don't and we wait for that massive epic meltdown, then what happens? Like fill in the blank here. When I have a meltdown, XYZ happens. Do you sit on the couch for 2 days? Do you get mad at people? Do you stop in your business and wait for yourself to be put back together before you can start again? How much energy is required for you to get back going when you have these epic meltdowns? That's like when the whole house is being melted down, right? The whole structure. And what I want is that as you deal with your money, your numbers in your business and taxes coming up at the end of the year or beginning of next year and the holidays happening and birthdays happening and unexpected things happening in your life that all require money and resources, that you can be prepared for this by not having them epic meltdown when it happens, but be like, oh, cool, I got this. Right? When we start looking at money mastery, Mastery of anything, right, is the overcoming of how we respond in a situation. Do we have to stop and think? What would I do in this situation? Cool. That's the first step, right? We're starting down that road. Where does it come just as naturally as it does as breathing, right? Imagine most of us all, by the time of our age now, we're masters of breathing. Our bodies need that. And we figured out how to do it when we we're a baby. And now we just, it's part of our routine. We have a lot of these routines. When it comes to money, what I'm always trying to help people do is gain a little bit more mastery every day. The problem right now is a lot of people are having meltdowns, being triggered by all these external forces and internal forces because we set, again, like I said at the beginning, an expectation for how something should come out. And when it doesn't happen, then we got to melt down that what would have been situation. And with it, there's emotion, there's thoughts, there's perceptions that are formed, there's experiences that are created. That's what we do with those is what makes us either a master or someone who's going to continue to fall apart. Does all that make sense? I hope so. So, really, this is going to be a short and sweet video this week. It's really focus on what a meltdown is for you. I gave you one definition. You can pick up mine if you want. For me, it makes total sense, right? And it starts to help me understand what's happening with myself each day. It also helps me pick out the pieces for my clients that need help. But for you, you have to define that. And as you define that, then you're going to start to see more and more of them. And I'm going to hope that you'll use this tool as a way to help support you through this process. I'm not saying it's going to eradicate them, but what it's going to do is it's going to help you stay more centered so you can have better results. Okay? That's the end goal always. What kind of results are you having? That's why I like step number 5, is which results did you have today? It's important because if we can't see it, then it doesn't happen. So define what a meltdown is. And again, a hint is you're having them every day. That's why the tool is important to do every day. And as you do it more and more, you'll start to see the results and build the momentum. And as you do that, then you start to gain mastery. And through more mastery becomes further understanding and greater knowledge, right? And you have less and less, and the ups and downs aren't so big ups and downs anymore, but it becomes a lot more level. Okay, so it's really, and this was again, I'm going to tell you this, what I'm going to talk about for a while, because it's such a problem with people melting down when it comes to their money and their business and in personal lives. Right? When you look at your budget each week, what kind of emotions you have? When you look at your end of month numbers, if you look at them, right? What kind of emotion do you have? Do you look at them weekly? Like as you're looking at your numbers, it's telling you a story, it's triggering things. You're having little meltdowns. That's why I suggest do the tool first and then look at your numbers. Do the tool first and then make major decisions. It helps clear your mind in a way that then you can make the best decision for you when you're empowered and in a place of peace instead of a place of disruption and chaos. Okay. So let me know. I really want to know, like, as you do this tool, I want to know your feedback. I want to know what wins you're having. So drop me an email, comment below, like ask questions. I'm here to help you. I really am. And everybody knows who's ever sent me an email. I do respond personally. So until next week, we'll see you later. Make sure you get those meltdowns taken care of. And we'll chat with you next week. Bye.